opinion and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Welcome back to BVarsity Live at the Bakersfield Californian, downtown Bakersfield. The Dignity Health Studios pickup basketball team just got a lot worse during the break there because we lost CJ.
How do you feel about
Trevor,
that,
you
Jay?
got to play the post now, man.
What are you
How do
trying
you
to
feel
say?
about that? No kidding.
No, you were in here too. Now there's only 3 of us. We got Trevor playing the post. What's your vertical?
Credit
Actually,
card.
not bad. It's like 15.
Better than mine, probably.
16.
Anyway, we do have Nick Papagni on the phone, the Pag Meter. Check out his website at thepagmeter.com. He is the expert on all things Central Section High School sports. Nick, how are you, man?
It's fantastic, and I'm trying to get my All-Valley Pag Meter All-Star team out. It's going to come out on Saturday. I'm just way behind the time.
Okay, we lost the very first thing you said there. We had the connection muffled, but I think we have you now. So you're working on football all-star teams, you said?
Yeah, it'll be out on Saturday, so everything. I'm finally getting it out. I've just been a busy boy the last 2 months, but I'm having it out on Saturday. All-Valley team.
I bet, man. Who sneak peek for us? Who can you give us an MVP or anything? What can you tell us about the team?
Well, the MVP, I'm going with Vance Sams of Edison.
Okay.
But my defensive player will be Marcus Bruce. So Anthony Mariscal will be my specialty player of the year. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of north and south swirled together.
Very good, very good. And Sheldon Croney, I'm sure, is another guy who will be mentioned quite a bit. Basketball season,
For sure.
It's first time in a long time. I think the consensus number one is not only not a Clovis Unified school or a track school, but it's not even a Division I school. It's Emmanuel. I mean, and this isn't something that's a total surprise because of the players we've had. But what are your thoughts on Emmanuel?
Well, really, you could call it a Clovis North, West, or East team because they're all Division I players going to a 200 student body school playing. So, no, Emmanuel is a very, very good team. They should not be in Division IV. They're going to sandbag in Division IV, and they can probably win the whole thing in Division I.
Yeah, they probably could. They've already beat Centennial and beat Edison, who are 2 of the contenders in D1. Clovis West, obviously being another one. You've got a few other schools in there too. Liberty, Central looks better in the last few weeks. They beat Clovis West this week. How do you handicap D1? Is this as wide open as it's been in a long time?
Oh, I think it's going to be going to the road to Selma Arena. It's going to be the best I've ever seen. And I have a feeling that Centennial Golden Hawks are going to Selma Arena this year. I got to watch them a few games. That team is good. They got shooters. They can play inside. They got some guys that can handle the ball. I think that's the team to beat in Division I.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit. We had it on Bakersfield.com on Tuesday with Stockdale. Had to pull away late after Stockdale caught him with 3 minutes to go. But you're right, they do have that inside-outside game. Malcolm Johnson on the inside, a couple other big bodies in there. Jacob Woody does a good job in there. And then Alec Check running the show, and the shooters on the outside, Preston Green and a couple of those other guys as well. So that's a dangerous team. Liberty's a dangerous team. Central, Bullard, is there a Central and Bullard seem like they're always there at the end. Can we expect that again, even though they've struggled a little bit so far? I mean, do you think they're going to be there, when we talk about a Final Four situation in February?
Nick, before you say anything, it's Trevor. Remember Central, who lost to Liberty in last-second beater at the MLK Showcase on Monday, then went and beat Clovis West, who was the previous number 1 in the Central section in track play. So,
Right.
Nick, can you add in on that?
Yeah, Central to me is going to be the most improved team by March. They are young. Myron Epps is doing a great job. He came over from Mission Oaks. They are young, but getting better every game. And I saw them at the beginning of the year, and I didn't think they were going to win a game. And now they're playing good basketball. Every team has flaws. Edison cannot shoot the ball. They play 10 deep, and they don't get a rhythm going. I don't see Edison at the end of the year, but I have a feeling that you just mentioned. I think Central will be there, Centennial, Clovis West, possibly Clovis North and Liberty, the 5 teams that will be there at the end of the year.
I forgot to mention Clovis North, too. Moving on to Division II, Nick, is that a Mission Oak show there, or do you see anybody challenging them? Maybe a Ridgeview?
Oh, I think Ridgeview. I think Hanford is going to be the
Oh, Hanford's
team
up in D2 as well. That's right.
Roosevelt is playing good. Camp Fresno High will be there. I think Division II is going to be fun to watch. But Mission Oak is just rolling right now, and I think they could beat anybody.
Yeah, they really are, and they look terrific on Monday, right, Trevor?
Yes. Yeah, they can shoot the ball. They play well inside and out, and they just kind of took it to West there. And moving on to D3, Nick, where do you match up? Do you put West, Tehachapi 1-2 in D3 at this moment?
Well, and I know Chavez got off to a great start, and they're struggling a bit right now. But they also beat Central. That's a big win for them. I mean, I think that's another race that you're going to look at. Tehachapi's playing good basketball right now. Yeah, Tehachapi West. I think it's going to be at Selland. It's probably going to be a South Valley, two schools going to the Selland Arena in that division.
And that's always the awkward thing about Selland. I remember a few years ago it was Garces and Liberty in D2, and when you have those two Bakersfield or two Kern County schools in Selland, that's when the attendance suffers. Other than that, it's really been great for the section.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen again. I think the Division III is just loaded with South Valley, very good schools. Got no choice.
We'll move on to D4 briefly. I mean, I guess we'll just talk about who's the most likely runner-up to Emmanuel. I mean, because nobody's going to beat them down there, but who gets to Selland?
Yeah, and the only question in Division IV is how does Emmanuel do in the state playoff run, and I don't think they have a prayer. That's unfortunate because I think everyone sandbags once you get to the state tournament. I don't think they have a chance, but they will crush whoever they play in Selland Arena.
And any thoughts on D5? I can't say that I know a lot about it. I know Kern Valley went last year and was the sacrificial lamb to Emmanuel down in D5.
Well, I think Crothers will play in Selland Arena. It's just a matter of who they play. Crothers should really be in Division IV. I don't understand how they're playing at D5, but that's the way it goes. They will play at Selland Arena. It's just a matter of who they play.
This is why I like you, Nick, because if we put you in charge of the section, you're the guy who would look at things and say, that doesn't make any friggin' sense, let's change that. Nobody else is willing to say that.
It would take 15 minutes. You phone call, you go, hey, Coach, what do you got this year? They either say we're going to be pretty good or, you know what, we graduated everyone, don't move us up or keep us where we are. It's a slam dunk, no-brainer. Don't get me started with the CIF and this whole dead zone with baseball and softball going on right now because I'll go crazy. I mean, how about that one?
I
You guys
agree.
talked about that yet?
Absolutely agree.
Justin Roberts is here with us as Centennial assistant coach, and he's fired up about it too.
If you're going to have a dead zone to me, do it from September 30th until December 3rd. I mean, September to December. That's when you shouldn't even bring a mitt to the field anyway. Cross-training, pitchers can take a break. They can get bigger, stronger. But once January 1st comes around, it's baseball season. You don't have a dead zone then. That's silly.
Nick Papagni for section commissioner. we love you, Mr.
Got my
Critchlow,
vote.
but yeah, but we need a common sense back in there. Although unfortunately, in Jim's defense, a lot of this stuff is set up by bylaws and things that he can't even control.
Right.
So it's sort of a bureaucratic mess at times. But
Yeah.
let's switch over to girls basketball, Nick. And I know you have Clovis West at number 1, but I think I saw you mention on Twitter the other day it's such a close call. You could go Garces or Clovis West. What makes that decision for you?
For me, Columbus West is playing by far the toughest, maybe one of the toughest schedules in the state. If you look at who they're playing, it's off the charts. And I'm
But you don't-
against Garces.
You don't think playing against Oaks Christian, Sarah Gardena, Mount Carmel out of San Diego, who is most likely going to be the team that they could see in the SoCal D2 championship? I mean, you don't see that as a pedigree resume for Garces?
No question about it. That's a fantastic resume. I just look at what Clovis West has done overall compared, and I think it's this week I might change. But right now Clovis West playing in the track is going to be a little different than where Garth is going to play. But I have a feeling, of course Centennial's right there as well.
Does
I
that
think
loss
it's
on
gonna-
Monday for Clovis West factor anything into you? Because it did for me. Losing to St.
Yeah.
Mary's of Albany and the MLK Showcase there at St. Mary's in Stockton.
Yeah, and what I understood about that St. Mary's team, that team is tall, and if you're going to beat Clovis West, you want to have some tall athletes who can move move around. They're not used to playing a tall team. That's
not the same.
The kryptonite.
Well, they lost to St. Mary's of Albany, not to St. Mary's of Stockton. So it's
no,
not.
I understand that.
Okay.
But the Albany team was tall. I talked to their coach. He says this was the most athletic, tall team we played in a long time. So I don't know. Maybe that Albany team's under the radar. You're absolutely right.
Well, do you think that maybe that'll factor in if Clovis West and Garces play against each other then? The height of C.J. West and Riley Tucker?
And I don't think it'll matter because Clovis West and Garces are both used to playing on the road. I don't know if the CIF will look at who's got the bigger gym to make more money. Clovis West has a huge gym. I don't know what'll happen, but if it's 1 and 2, if Clovis West gets to 2, I don't think they'll mind traveling.
Yeah, well, and frankly, that's going to end up at Selland Arena anyway. So the question is, if Centennial is going to be the 3 seed, which looks likely because they beat Edison, the question is, will Centennial go to Clovis West or will they go to Garces? And then the other the number 1 seed will get whoever's up 4, which could be Edison.
But isn't it fun that we're talking about Division I basketball again? That's what I love about it.
Yeah, that is the good thing about moving teams up, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And that, before we could talk about that, I know baseball, I just put it on my website, all the changes for the baseball. Some are moving up, some are moving down, so it'll be exciting baseball. But basketball right now, I love it. Because now the divisions are getting good.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Give me a sleeper in D1. If it's not Garces or Clovis West, we know Centennial and Edison. Is there somebody else, maybe Hanford, getting better? I mean, who's going to crash the party?
I think Hanford will be the sleeper of anybody. But I just have that feeling that Centennial is really, really good this year. Edison is good. I just don't know if they match up with the better teams because they'll go in the CMAC and just crush people, and you're not going to get better when you're beating people 85-26.
Right.
But maybe Hanford maybe they're finally coming on, but they're very young. Hanford's a year away from being really good.
And they're a lot like Garces in the fact that they play a 3-deep bench, but that sophomore guard is just absolutely a phenomenal shooter, and she's heady. So, if anything, if Hanford's going to do anything, they're only going to get better as the season moves on.
How about the other divisions,
correct.
Nick, in D2 and D3 for girls?
Oh, let's see. I don't have my notes in front of me right now. I'm drawing a blank, but D3 is give me my top 3 again.
I know that in D2 we've got Independence, Ridgeview.
Okay.
I don't have your rankings directly in front of me, but I think those were the top 2.
Off the top of my head in girls, I would say Tehachapi, Selma, and probably Porterville.
In D3.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, if we're talking Ridgeview, you just mentioned D2. Ridgeview Independence, you see that again as a battle for Selland Arena?
It's hard for me to say. Trevor, have you seen anybody else who could challenge those 2 teams?
Redwood.
Okay. They've already
Hanford.
played. The thing about Ridgeview and Independence, they've already played once. Ridgeview beat them. They play again
Hanford,
next week.
Yeah, then
they'll
Hanford
play again
beat,
before the end of the season, so they could play 4 times this year.
Yeah, then Hanford beat Ridgeview.
But that's Hanford's D1.
Hanford's D1.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm looking at it says D2 on the Central Section website.
Are you looking at boys or girls?
I thought I was looking at girls.
Yeah,
so
Hanford should be Division 1. They have been for a while now. So let me see, Nick. I'm looking at your rankings right now. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick.
Pull 'em up from Alice.
Okay, we've got in D2. You got Independence, Redwood, Yosemite. Oh, you know what? Ridgeview's in Division 1 also. I forgot about that. Ridgeview moved up.
Yeah, and you got Sierra in Division 2 as well.
Yep.
Which is playing good basketball. That is going to be a heck of a race to the end as well. You got Sierra, Ridgeview, Independence. I mean, that's going to be fun. That's you want to talk about travel. Someone's going to have to travel somewhere in the playoff. Yosemite is a long way to go from Bakersfield.
Yeah, so Sierra. And in Division 3, you've got Tehachapi, Fresno, Mission Oak, and Golden West as your top 4.
Which is, yeah, and you look at Fresno High, you look at Tehachapi and all that you just mentioned, they're not going to be able to really see each other. So when it's playoff time, you're talking about teams that just unfamiliarized with each other. So that'll be an interesting Division 3. I don't know, Fresno High has that superstar girl that scores about 20-something points a game. Again, I think when they get in the playoff time, you're going to see good coaches. If you have that one-horse player, it's going to be tough to I just don't see playoff. You better have a team in the playoffs.
And in Division 5, speaking of all-stars, Rebecca Gallus at Kern Valley, 28 points per game. Could
10
lead the
rebounds,
Bronx
5
back.
yeah.
But Carruthers will be good. A couple of other schools down there will be challenging as well. Nick, we're out of time, but we appreciate you joining us as always, and we're going to have you back on towards the end of basketball season, all right?
I'm excited. You guys do a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Nick.
I got a quick update before we go to break. Matt Robles, head coach at Garza, says that junior guard Jordan Slayton is full go tonight against Centennial. So he did not play in that big loss to Bakersfield on Tuesday, but will be going tonight.
And that is the boys' game, which will be at Garces. We'll be at Centennial for the girls' game, and you'll be at Liberty Stockdale, Trevor. We'll talk
boys,
about all
yep.
that, after the break. Big slate of SWIL basketball action tonight. We'll look at rankings and everything else. We'll bring in Justin, who's been sitting here patiently. I know he's got a few.
Hey, just hanging
cents to
out with
put
you
in.
guys, man. I love it.
Absolutely. We'll be right back after we take our last break on BVarsity Live.